Hi, I'm Oliver Penniger, the best marketing intern ThreeWill has ever had. And this is episode 148 of the Two Bald Brothers and a Microphone podcast, where we talk about the people, process, and technology to work together better inside enterprises. This episode was recorded on January 11th, 2018. In this episode, Danny talks to Tommy about plans for 2018 for the podcast. They discuss some of the many changes that happened over 2017, along with the ThreeWill culture and how they plan to preserve it. Enjoy this episode, and thanks for listening.
Hello and welcome to the Two Bald Brothers and a Microphone podcast. This is your host, Danny Ryan. I'm here with the other bald brother, Tommy Ryan. Hey, Tommy.
Where it's at? It's Two Bald Brothers and a Microphone.
Wow, 2018, huh?
Oh, gosh. It's another year. They go by way too quickly.
They do, don't they? They sure do. They sure do. I wanted to get together with you and talk about, sort of put a recap on last year and talk about some plans for this upcoming year. So I really enjoyed getting together with you and the others at ThreeWill and these podcasts, just a chance to get away and have a nice conversation about different things going on at ThreeWill. So last year, we some of the things that we did besides rebranding it as Two Bald Brothers and a Microphone podcast is we started to do some client interviews. I enjoyed that. I think we should continue to do that.
Definitely.
What do you think about that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a win-win all around.
Absolutely. Win-win ding. We also did some books. So we did Danny reads the book and shares it with Tommy, and Tommy gets, hopefully some of the fruits of what comes out of the book.
Yeah,
I especially
the PDX
like
stuff.
Yeah.
It's good. We're talking about that a lot in our business planning.
Yes, and that'd be some good things for us to hit maybe later on. Is what was the impact of reading some of these books? It's nice for me. I don't really understand something unless I try to teach it to someone else. So it has a lot of benefits to me as well. So I think we continue to do that. What else? What else went well with last year as far as the podcast? Any thoughts?
Yeah, I think, we talked about our values. I thought that was
Yes.
good. I mean, it's always important. It's kind of core to what gets us up in the morning. So to not just talk about technology the whole time is good. So that I thought that was a good thing to do. Also, we continue just re-hone it in on the practices and why do we do the things that we do, so we can solidify that in our mind and be clear to our customers of why we're doing it.
The quest to be best in the world at something. I think that's what, just something where we're providing such an incredible service. To do that, we can't be generalists, and so sort of what are we honing in on, and where are we able to really have the capacity to blow something away? And I think it's fun seeing how this is evolving and seeing what's coming out of that. And I think the evolution of the practices is sort of how we're tuning into that.
Right. Yeah, a lot of inspecting and adapting. I mean, trying to have some consistency, but at the same time, understand, where your market is going so you can respond to that and not, push an idea that is before its time or maybe not, an idea worth pursuing.
Yep. 2018, what's your overall, you feeling optimistic, pessimistic, feeling like status quo? How are you feeling right now?
Feeling good. I think, when we went back and looked at some of the data around how our makeup of our customers have been over the years, and some of the things that we're doing to provide stability and growth. It looks like a good year, and I think we're trying to repeat what we did this year, that we did so well, and do it in a scalable way. I think that's one of the themes, and not burning ourselves out. I mean, it was a great year, but a tough year, I think, for the organization, because we did not catch a break the whole year. So you want to make sure that that production capacity, not killing the goose that has the golden egg, to continue to nurture the environment that we have and make sure that we consciously do things that keep us in balance as we are, having a healthy pipeline of business.
You keep on bringing this up, which is really important to folks, which is part of the, we're a services firm. So like it or not, it's utilization times the bill rate.
Yeah.
And
make it simple.
Make it simple. And along with that, how we try to build in, you're not supposed to be billing 40 hours a week. You've got 4 hours. You sort of built into this is some way of, looking at the production capacity side of things as well.
Right.
But people get busy on projects. Oh my goodness. You and I know we used to be on projects. We understand that. But we also understand how important it is to stay up on the latest technology, refine your skills, learn new things as well.
Right. No one wants to be on the bench. I think there's a sense of I want to be, bring me in, on the court. I want to play. I don't want to sit on the bench. There's always great things to do on the bench, but I think there's a sense of I want to add value. I want to be doing something for a customer versus doing something that is in between those customer engagements. And that's just the DNA of a good consultant, wanting to be in on the game and making a difference.
Tell me some about, because one of the conversations we've been having recently has been about, we've got a primary, part of my marketing goals is to bring on enterprise clients, so larger clients that are typically want to buy the types of services that we have to offer. We define those as being companies with an annual revenue of $1 billion or greater a year in annual revenue. We've been having some conversations recently of the sort of the, which do we continue to do all that type of work for enterprise clients versus a mix of small and mid-sized clients? Tell me what the thought is there.
Yeah, and I think historically we've had quite a few, small sized clients, and from the beginning we've worked with the large companies. Our business what hasn't been geared around a small to medium size market. It's always been the enterprise market. That's really where we get the bulk of our stability as an organization. But in the way we can serve those clients the best is the smaller companies are the ones that can go into the newer technology sooner. And so when we go into an enterprise situation, they don't want to be doing it for the first time, or they don't want us to be doing it for the first time. So having the smaller, medium-sized businesses that Office 365 and Azure is strategic for them, we can try things that are going to make a big impact to them, and that's worth the risk of taking on newer technology. It's a little bit easier to put your arms around for these smaller size organizations. So that's been strategic, and also it's fun with some of these smaller clients where you're working with the leaders of the organization, and you can go after some pretty strategic, high impact type problems, and we're passionate about that. We love solving problems and solving problems that are worth solving for our customers. So, you can get into these large organizations, and a lot of times it's hard to be connected to the true value and excitement of the impact that you're making in these bigger projects with larger companies. But you can get that typically in the smaller size business. But as a company our size, we in the work we try to do and the way we structure things, it's not healthy for us to have all small company work. It's not scalable. It's not viable for us at this point.
Yes, the analogy is we serve up 3-hour Italian dinners, and we're not a fast food restaurant. We're not like come in and get this, get out, get in, get out, get in, get out. Yeah. So for smaller clients, that's really what they're looking for is just give me a small intranet on Office 365, get in, get out.
Right.
And we're much more focused in on for what typically large clients are doing, where they're building out line of business applications and really investing in Office 365 and Azure as a platform. So
yeah, and I think it's natural because of our desire for how we sell. We want to sell based on how we deliver and building relationships, and that transactional sell, that small transactional where you have to keep cost of sales down really low to be able to turn a lot of small things, and the efficiencies that have to go into turning a lot of small things. We like the larger ones because it gives us the opportunity to build relationships, and it plays to our strengths where they want us to do the next project. And if you're with a smaller company, they can't always afford that next project.
Yeah.
So it's good to be with organizations that can continue that relationship, almost ongoing year after year, on a contiguous basis, versus engaging, having to keep in contact 4 years later, we've got the next project. That's a lot harder to manage in a company our size.
Tell me about your process that you go through with the annual planning of looking at sort of like the revenue and what is, talk me through what goes on there.
Well, there's a little bit of a iterative process. You got to pick something as a goal and do some litmus tests to say, is that a viable goal? Is that the goal we want to set? Is it reinforce what is important to us as an organization in terms of long-term, where are we going as a company? So we set typically looking at, previous performance and saying, what do we want to set as the next set of performance? And we're doing an HR plan around that to say, okay, how do we achieve that in a way that is viable and won't burn us out? Don't plan on 110% utilization. Plan on something that's 100 or 95 that allows you to have some margin there to kind of adapt to, not overshooting what you're trying to do as an organization. We really care about providing an environment that if everybody's doing their part, that it's a stable environment. And as you know, out there in the larger company environments, there's a lot of overshooting and a lot of cutting back. Where I think that it's naturally what they feel like they need to do because it's easy for them to lose touch in the quality of their people that work at their organization. So to cut 10% for them is a healthy thing to do. But for a company our size, we really put a lot of work into getting good people and wanting to keep those good people. So as we look at setting goals, it's setting goals that will stretch us, but not put us in undue risk to having to let people go. So we look at that goal. That goal comprises of a makeup of hiring people and then also working with contractors to mitigate some of that risk too. But give us the capacity to go after the things that allows us to grow. So, how do we look at the work that we're doing and how can we do that in a more scalable way? How can we respond to the market wanting more of something that maybe today we don't have the capacity to do, but we can quickly ramp up to that based on we're ready. We've done some homework to be ready for that, scaled need of capacity.
I think you're mentioning not wanting to overshoot. I think another thing that's in the back of our mind as well, we were talking about values earlier, is not to have the culture change when you're bringing on a bunch of people. It allows for us to bring people on, assimilate them to the ThreeWill way. No, just be able to continue the great culture that we have. I'll put it that way. And so if you're bringing them on at a steady clip and not hiring 10 people at a time, 20 people at a time, that's allows for the culture to stay around. Let me put it that way.
I'm glad you're saying that because that really is an implicit thing for me all the time. In the back of my mind is all about the culture because at the end of the day, that's what keeps me coming back to ThreeWill. If we didn't have the culture that we have today, it'd be a showstopper. So we're always, making sure that that's front and center. And, this year we put a value wall up, the ones that you see in some of these startup high-tech companies, chalkboard type painting in a sense. And that way we see it. We pass by it every day because it's easy to kind of get caught up in the business of the day-to-day and just the stress of the day-to-day that sometimes you can lose sight of your values if you don't reconnect to them. And in our planning, we talk about those values as it relates to some of the things that we're trying to do. We want to provide value for our customers, so there's some proactive things that we need to do. And how do we squeeze that in as a consulting company that sets a goal of utilization that can fly in the face of some of those things that you need to do to stay healthy.
I also like that, each month, like most companies do, they have like an employee of the month type of thing. And you relate it back to one of our values, which I think is it's a good reminder as as we go through the year of what those values are, not only having them up on the wall, but also looking at people, because values are displayed through people.
That's right.
And being able to call out a person and call out a value, and that we even do this up on the website, which each of our values have a statement by a person, because people display that. I mean, they have certain values. So I think that's pretty cool as well.
Yeah.
Anything else about this upcoming year that you want to discuss, or any thoughts on the upcoming year?
I think we like things in threes.
Yes, we do.
And we had 4 practices.
Oh, we're going down to 3.
And the tension we had there is, we have the migrations, portals, applications, and sustainment.
Yeah.
And we kind of see that as a flow, where not every customer has to come through the migration first, but it's where we're seeing a lot of our growth is through that migration as the first engagement.
Yep.
And helping people, migrate to the cloud in a lot of cases. And we see that could be the final migration for them for a while.
Yes.
I mean, probably not forever, but I think, these SaaS-based companies are trying to make that a potential, be their last migration. So we're putting a lot of effort into that, and that flows into, okay, now that you're in the platform, that migration, the value was that it was to be positioned in a new platform to get more out of that platform. And just migrating to it is not where you get the value. It gives you the potential to get the value. And then we want to do, we say portals, which is the out of the box and the information architecture, all the foundational pieces that you can use the platform properly. And then building those applications on top of that, either being something in Office 365 and SharePoint, or in Word, Excel, or in websites in Azure. And so as we look at building those things, a lot of our projects, it's a mix of a portal and an application. It's not always clean to be one or the other. So we felt that let's bring that together, because we don't want to put too much emphasis on just helping people maintain their SharePoint environment. That's not where we have our passion. I mean, do we help people do that? We do, but it's not something that we're hiring and trying to say, what can we do better at in terms of maintaining a SharePoint environment? Because the cloud, that's really put in Microsoft's hands. They're trying to make sure you have a healthy farm environment. We're not putting emphasis on helping people do farm environments. That's something that we think there's people out there that can do that. We can partner with them. If they don't want to add another partner and they want us to help, we have help there. But we see, getting into the cloud and providing something that, kicks it up a notch. We're not complacent to just get the portal in place and start sharing documents and stop there. We want to take them further. We want to enforce business process, through some types of, workflow type applications. Be able to collect data and share that data and make sure you're making good decisions around that data. So that's what we're passionate about. So we kind of pulled that together. So we're not putting too much energy in just portals, but it's really custom portals. At the end of the day, we're trying to create for folks. What we're grappling with, which we think all organizations are at this point, is okay, what should I be doing now in the cloud? And I think we're starting to see that turn where people are starting to do things in the cloud, and we're very anxious, helping some of those smaller customers and some of our larger customers just to get more value out of the Microsoft stack. And Azure is one that we're putting more energy and understanding of authentication, proper authentication, and just all the services. And what are the key services we want to be the best at that will allow us to create those custom solutions? And there's a little bit of a guessing game there. Mm-hmm. There's a little bit of inspect and adapt. We're going to learn this, talk to our customers about it. Does it get traction? No. Okay. Let's look at something else. And that creates some anxiety, but we're there to take the journey with our customers and do as much proactive as we can to be ready for them when they take that step in that direction.
It's the innovator's dilemma, right? There's always something new coming out what do you use at the time, and what's the right appropriate technology to use when you're going after these projects and when you're doing it. So
yeah,
great.
Just trying to keep that tension. I think we're very practical to use what is going to work and not take too much risk with the customer unless they want to take that risk. But there's a little bit of concern of let's keep on pushing ourselves, because technology moves quickly, and things that were the right thing to do 3 years ago maybe are not the right thing to do today. So we continue to challenge ourselves to say, are we doing the right thing? And we approach a custom solution.
I'm excited about this year. Should be good. It's going to be fun to repeat what we did last year and build on it. I think that's the way you grow a great organization and hold on to the culture that you have. So it's going to be a fun time.
Yeah, and we've got a new account manager on board, so that's exciting to have the opportunity to
shout out to John,
Mr. Brady, and looking at ways that we can have more, build better relationships. I mean, the way you scale that is people. You have to have good people that are caring people that want to find ways to help. And gosh, John is one of those guys that's so anxious to help people and is not shy and get in front of people and helping them understand, kind of what's the next step. So excited to see that and start growing kind of our sales organization and have a better sales organization. It's been a while, and you and I do a lot of that, and really everybody sells here, of course, but there's a part of it that is the sales professional role of keeping those relationships healthy, and we care about that, so it's nice to be able to afford to add another person to the team.
Nice. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you for doing this, Tommy.
Sure.
And I hope everyone has a wonderful 2018, and thank you so much for listening to this podcast. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.